It's easy to get stuck in the trap of believing that you must kill the ego or eliminate it in order to get enlightened, and then there's no more suffering. But the reality is that your ego, your psychological emotional structure, is going to be existing for as long as you live. And integrating it, working with it, actually serves as a vehicle for your own awakening, for the realization of who and what you actually are, the very nature of existence. You see, many hundreds of years ago, maybe like a 12th century Zen master, for sure can just, be beyond the ego, living in a monastery, and it's just a much simpler time. But nowadays, with all the demands of the modern world, that's not the situation that we find ourselves in. We find ourselves in the situation of having an ego, basically needing it to navigate the world, and it's a very complex world, and without intentionally integrating it, we're going to have struggles. We're going to face unnecessary problems that with some development we could have avoided. So it's easy to fall into this trap of I have to kill the ego and kill this separate self. The thing is this whole thing's already an illusion in the first place. Enlightenment is already true now. Enlightenment is just getting what's true about the nature of being. That's what it is. It's just getting what's true. It's already true. So you don't have to kill anything. You don't have to remove an ego. You just gotta become aware of who and what you are. What is this experience? And then Shazam, you got it. But your psychological emotional structure is still going to be existing. So when you go to the grocery store, when you go to work, when you interact in your relationship, your bad habits, your addictions, this stuff, it's not gonna go anywhere. Just because you realize what's true about the nature of reality. Although yes, it's actually very beneficial for, working with a lot of that stuff. It's definitely very important. You're still going to find yourself in the situation of needing to navigate the world. This isn't going to go anywhere. So that's why I'm offering this path of integrating the ego in order to move beyond it. Because the ego actually evolves. The human sense of self actually evolves. And as you integrate it and develop it, it naturally begins to transcend itself. It naturally constructs itself and then deconstructs itself. This is just a fact of human psychology. And typically people get stuck somewhere along that path, which is why they don't actualize the full thing. Due to ideology or trauma, they get stuck in something. So rather than having this idea that the ego must be destroyed, integrate it, understand what your needs are, learn how to navigate the world effectively, which is very hard. So I want to get into some of the details of that. What does this mean? This means getting your physiological needs met, making sure that your body is in a alive and healthy and vital place. And all this stuff is going to serve as a vehicle to your awakening. So this means eating a clean diet. Eating foods that actually give your body energy rather than always making you feel drained. Typically for most people, that's going to be a lot of fruits and vegetables. It's going to be cutting out a lot of junk food, fast food, soda, pop, whatever you want to call it. But of course, it's up to you. I'm not your nutritionist. I don't know what your body needs. It's up to you to get attuned to your body and sense into what it needs. Not only that, but you have to look into heavy metal detox, because we're breathing in heavy metals, right? Our air is polluted. A lot of our food contains heavy metals. It gets stuck in our organs, in our brain, in our body, right? They get passed down from one generation to the next. And they're just in there, stuck in your body. So this is just a detail of really taking your health seriously, right? You need to get flexible in your body. Stretch, do some yoga, some exercise. Allow it to just be a vital place where energy can move through. The health of any living organism requires the free flow of energy within that organism. I believe I said this in a previous video, the rivers on the earth flowing, the blood through your veins flowing, the emotions and feelings and sensations in your body flowing, energy being able to move in your body rather than being stuck, stagnant, and then solidifying. So that's just a few examples of that. This also means your physical environment, making sure it's clean, right? Making sure that your environment is actually organized, it's not dirty and disgusting. There's a good reason why a lot of the Zen monasteries are very clean. Next is relationships, bringing consciousness into your relationships, actually studying conscious relationship, reading a lot of books on it, to be quite honest, studying from various teachers, working with them. This isn't a 5-minute process. This is like the rest of your life we're talking about right here. Because your relationships are going to bring out repressed energies in the body, and their energies are going to try and emerge, but there's going to be this repression, this counterforce to it, pushing them back down. It's going to be fear inside of you. It's going to be a lot of your automated sort of patterns that fight against yourself, and they're going to create a lot of suffering. There's also this important aspect of really doing a lot of shadow work. Psychotherapy. I have a great free book list. Check out the therapy and healing section. I'm going to be adding a bunch more books to it in the near future. There's a lot of good books on it already. So by bringing consciousness into your relationships, it doesn't become this place where two egos are just struggling to find more security in their life and grasping on to things that, just bring them that security that they're looking for. Instead, it becomes this vehicle for awakening. It becomes this vehicle for transcendence. Because nothing is distinct from the absolute reality, pure conscious, pure empty consciousness, formless consciousness. It's this right here. It's already true. It's already completely unified with everything. With me, with you, with an apple, with a tree, with a toilet. Next is your career. Learning to actually have a career that fits your psychology well, your core values, your psychological emotional system, your personality type. Because you're going to be called to certain things. You're going to feel drawn to certain things intrinsically, not extrinsically. And you have to learn how to trust your calling, really discovering your life's purpose, honing in on your inner compass. This is a thing that you got to develop. Because even if you awaken, even if you sit in a cave and meditate, the typical sort of like yogi, right? The very stereotypical idea of some yogi sitting in a cave, getting enlightened in the Himalayas. When you come into the world, you're going to have to navigate it again. The psychological emotional structure is still going to be there. A lot of the old conditioned patterns will still be there. And awakening helps you to not repress any of that, because awakening is like just this radical non-resistance and non-repression to experience. That's like a quality of it. But the psychological emotional structure is just going to be there. So working with it rather than a repression or an avoidance of it, or trying to kill it, see, that's not a method that actually works in the real world. It's just a method that creates further disease. Right? Another good point is self-actualization. Shadow work, like I kind of mentioned. Right? Cleaning up a lot of the neuroses that exist in the mind and in the body and the emotional system. Studying a lot of different perspectives, not being dogmatic. It's a very, very big one. People underestimate this one. Learning to actually study a lot of different perspectives as well. Allowing your cognitive development to evolve. People think the mind is just like this pure obstacle to awakening. Awakened people still talk and they still think and they can write a book. Awakening requires that you see through the illusions that your mind erects and the stories that your mind constructs. This doesn't mean that you can never have a thought again. In fact, enlightened people are far better thinkers than the majority of the population, by a lot. They're usually the most psychologically evolved people, typically are. So allowing your mind to have this flexibility with various perspectives, being able to organize information as well. It's this deep integration of mind, sense-making, navigating the world, your career, your relationships, your diet, cleansing your body, making it an alive and vital place, stretching, allowing the energy to move through your body, psychotherapeutic work. All of this is actually a service to your awakening. It's not something that takes you away from it. It's the exact opposite. So that's it for this video. If you're interested in working with me one-to-one, you can do that. If you're sincere, I trust that you will find the link on your own. It's not very hard to find. Take it easy.